Right. Hello everyone, and welcome to MEFC Red Devil NCR's preview of United versus Brighton over the weekend. And hi Ashley, how have you been?
Hi Mojo, good afternoon. All is good, all is well. How you been?
Yes. Sorry.
I said, how you been? All well.
Yeah. Well, just browsing through social media like there's no tomorrow, hoping that some signings will happen, hoping that Fabrizio Romano will come up with "Here we go" for somebody very soon. But we're still hanging on in there.
Every time I hear those words, here we go, I think my blood pressure goes up. It's been going on for so
Right.
long, nothing has been happening. We are not going
Right.
anywhere.
Something anyway, yeah. I mean, for us to be, negotiating and working on a deal structure for a deal worth 20 million, it's a little embarrassing and getting silly.
Such a mess. It's such a mess. I don't know what is going to happen in the future. It's like, it's a
Right.
cesspool. They have players who they'd rather keep, who will never play for the club. Then there may be at least probably out of the 32, maybe 12 or 14 players who will never get on the bench. I'm not talking about first
Right.
team, not get on the bench of any of the top six
Right.
clubs. But those people are still at the club. They are maintaining the wages simply because if they sell them and buy a new player, they'll have to spend more money. What sense does that make? I mean, they have no
I
ambition
mean,
for the
that's
club.
exactly, yeah, that's exactly what I was discussing on, our fan group's WhatsApp chats this morning. That the likes of Mata, Lingard, Pereira, Rojo, Jones, Dalot, Romero are all occupying wages to the tune of about 40 million pounds per annum,
Exactly.
and that is something which will never get onto the bench or the playing 11. I mean, fine, Lingard did because it was a game against Luton. But anyway, we'll come to the transfer and the mess that we are in. But let's get back to a very crucial game on the weekend versus Brighton, because Brighton, according to me, have started this season quite respectably. Against Chelsea, they were very much into the game until they conceded the second goal. And they beat Newcastle very convincingly, which was 3-0. So what is your opinion upon how United would approach this game and how Brighton would?
If Brighton line up with their 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-3, which they normally have been playing, and you play
Right.
Lindelof and Maguire at the back, we are definitely conceding.
Right.
That goes without saying. We
Okay.
are going to concede if you are going to play Lindelof, Maguire, because again they're going to pack them midfield. Maguire and Lindelof
Right.
on a high press. That's what they when they played against Chelsea. Actually, they probably got the wrong rub of the green, but they had a very good game. I
Right.
think they were the better side on that day against Chelsea. They played
Yes, for
really
a
well.
good part.
They played
Yeah,
really
for a
well.
good part, for about 50, 55 minutes, they were on par with Chelsea, if not better.
What we would be able to do is if we get past their midfield and manage to get the ball,
Right.
further up the pitch to the Manchester United front three, which is going to be difficult. Then it's 3 against 3.
Right.
We probably have a chance of scoring. But with the midfield
Right.
of 4 and the 2-1 or the 3 forward, if you have that backline, the backline is going to definitely have problems against them. Because they are quick
Right.
side, they're fast. They don't have any,
Right.
household names or any stars, but they're all very, very good, technically very good players, and they will give our defense a tough time.
I mean, there was this thing which was going around, in a few fan channels that they're amongst their most influential midfielders, Bissouma, had been given a red card last game,
Yes.
so he would not be there. So that'll help to a certain extent. But then, who's to say? Because against Crystal Palace, we were hoping that we would turn up and win the game comfortably, because apparently Crystal Palace had 7 first teamers missing. And we know what happened there.
Yes.
So I guess depending upon one of their midfielders not being available, as a hope that it'll become an easier game, I don't think so, because all Premier League teams have strength in depth. I guess we are the only club which doesn't.
Not all. I was
but
just
last
going to
season,
say that. Not all.
yes, and apparently last season we beat them 3-1 at home,
We
and
did.
post lockdown we beat them 3-0 away. And what both of those games told me, if we go back and look at the highlights, is that the Brighton defense, if got at with some quality, is susceptible to conceding goals.
Yes.
I mean, just like ours. But we beat them 3-1 at Old Trafford, wherein Pereira and McTominay of all the people scored. And whereas when we beat them away post lockdown, it was more of the usual suspected goal scorers in Bruno and Greenwood. So how do you think United would line up? And I guess our first 11 picks itself, because we don't have a choice. But the discussion still would be around whether it be Lindelof, Maguire, or Bailly Maguire, and either it'll be Van de Beek or Pogba who would start.
Yeah, as you said, yes, if we manage to get past their defense and have to contend with only their back three, we have every chance of scoring.
Right.
I definitely not Lindelof at the back. Let Bailly play with Maguire. Van Bissaka, Luke Shaw, that's all we have in defense, left back and right back. Play either Fred or Matic as a CDM.
Okay.
Start with Van der Beek and Bruno Fernandes. And of course, Rashford, Martial and Greenwood up top. Paul Pogba is not, he didn't look fit the last game and he just wasn't there in his head. I think 7 or 8 times he just gave the ball away when there was no pressure on the ball. Nobody tackling, nobody pressing. He just gave away the ball. He couldn't even control a pass 7 or 8 times. So if he's in that frame of mind and he isn't, and he's out of form, don't play him. Don't just put him on the pitch because he's Paul Pogba. We have Van der Beek and Fernandes. I think you should start with them. And because even in the game against Luton, Van der Beek was brilliant, but he cannot play with Juan Mata because he moves too quickly and thinks too quickly. You need someone like Fernandes with him to actually help him play and perform. He made some beautiful runs, good moves, but no support. So I think they should start with Van der Beek and Fernandes, Matic, Fred as either one of them as a CDM, and the front three: Greenwood, Rashford, Martial.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with you because our front three picks itself, Greenwood, Martial, and Rashford. I would definitely start with Van der Beek as compared to Pogba because Pogba seemed unfit post his COVID recovery, and within the first 2 or 3 minutes against Crystal Palace, he lost the ball 3 or 4 times and was committing fouls just to regain the ball. And in defense, yes, I mean everybody's been saying that you wouldn't want Lindelof to start with Maguire. But then I remember you saying that Ollie comes closest to Sir Alex Ferguson in trying to bring back the ethos of Manchester United. And Sir Alex always, ensured that the player who had a bad game always got given the chance in the next game again to get going and prove himself. So I still believe, something in me tells me that Ollie would start with Maguire and Lindelof. And Bailly, Pogba and Williams will be on the bench along with a few others. So that first 11 is simple to choose. I mean, and De Gea starts in the goal.
Definitely.
So, and I mean, we seriously need to turn up. I mean, God behold that if we were to lose or draw this game, what level of toxicity would happen around the place is going to be unbearable.
I shudder to think.
And worse still, I mean, Christ, I mean, I don't want to go to that. I don't want to think on those lines. But then, by the time this weekend fixtures end, and if we don't win or if we lose, we could well be in the bottom 3.
That's what is going to happen if the management doesn't step up to the plate. And you need to buy players. It's just shocking that the whole setup, it's so rotten. They cannot sell players. because it's their own fault for the contracts they've given them. Mata would have gone on a free. What makes you extend his contract for 2 years for 8 million?
Exactly.
What future does Mata have at the club? As a player, at least.
I mean, similarly with respect to when it comes to transfers or what we are currently at, I believe, the situation that's happening at Roma with regards to COVID and everything, and the rumors that are going around, if they are true, that half their, for football decisioning side is down with COVID, and they didn't follow the protocol in terms of their director of football or their scouts guy or their finance guy, whosoever it is. And that could lead to Smalling staying. I am personally of the belief that if we are not going to be signing a centre back, Smalling staying for whatever reasons could be a blessing in disguise, because let's face it, he wants to move on because of all the hate that he's got around at Old Trafford for the last 3 to 4 years. But let's not forget, let's step back those 7 years that we so fondly look back upon when we were the Premier League winners in 2013. Smalling was a part of that Premier League winning side. He's amongst those players who has the Fergie ethos, which then, if you run parallelly with Ollie's way of doing things, might try and fit into this season as a stopgap arrangement for one season at least. And somehow Smalling, I believe, is faster than Lindelof. I somehow believe Smalling's reading of the game is a lot better than Bailly's. So Smalling as a centre-back backup or amongst the starters along with Maguire, to me makes a lot more sense if you're not going for any centre-back right now. What do you think?
Smalling in the team is a desperate measure. Nothing beyond that.
I agree.
Nothing beyond that.
But given the situation we are in, given that you're not get a centre back and you have a player who's been a Premier League winner with you and can give you that additional option. I mean, he's surely better than Rojo and Jones. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I think my grandfather's probably better than Jones, but Smalling, Rowe and Jones out of the question. Just forget it. They're just there. They're happy being paid for doing nothing at the club, and the club is very happy keeping them there because buying new players they'd have to pay more money. So they would continue with this ridiculous process. But I don't think Smalling is a step in the right direction personally. He is still the reason why we sent him out on loan is because he wasn't getting game time and he was really slow. Understood, okay, in the past he was, but that is in the past. He's past it now for the Premier League. His pace, his reading of the game. The Serie A is a much slower game. It's easy for him and he's fine there. But no, rather put Mengi in and take a risk with him because he stands to even Mengi surely will have at least a better day on the field than Smalling. He will give a better performance simply because he needs to fight for his place. Smalling is done and dusted.
I agree.
And Mengi is a really, really good prospect, and I think Ollie should have played him at least for the last 10 minutes against Luton.
That's what I was thinking, because for a player that you need to build into the team, and even the likes of Williams, when he broke onto the scene, he came through a couple of cup games before he started playing the Premier League matches. So it was an ideal time to blood in Mengi to a certain extent, maybe for the last 10 or 15 minutes, and see how he goes. We were already leading at that time. So let's see. I to a certain extent agree with what you're saying on Smalling, but then when situation is at such desperate levels as it is at the club right now, that's what I've been discussing with a lot of the fellow United fans that I know, that we may as well keep Smalling, and I totally agree with you. It's going to be a desperate measure. I also agree with you that it could also regress Mengi to a certain extent if he doesn't get chances. So, let's see what happens in the remainder part of
Another,
what we are now left.
another
10
option,
days for the window to close.
another option would be to play Brandon Williams on the left and play Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw has played centre back before.
Yeah, but then Luke Shaw doesn't give you the height advantage at the centre back, which you would normally need at certain times.
He's definitely quicker than Smalling.
Right.
Harry Maguire is very slow on the turn, slow going forward. You need someone with pace next to him and who can distribute the ball. In comparison with Smalling, Shaw is a better option. I'm saying totally in terms of the desperate situation that we probably be in. Otherwise, Eric Bailly had a good game against Luton, so I think we should play him in defense.
I mean, I wouldn't benchmark Luton as, because Luton again, as far as the commentary that I was hearing, of course I don't follow Luton and I don't know who their first teamers are or what their bench is. But whatever was being said in during the commentary on that game was that Luton also had about 6 or 7 of their first teamers out, and to have a decent game against the Luton forward side, and to then conclude that Bailly had a decent game. It's a massive drop off in terms of quality of what Brighton bring to the game on Saturday compared to what Luton did, and that's where I also find the all the applause and the praise going towards Lingard a little unfounded, because I mean, let's be honest, you're playing against Luton B side, wherein a Manchester United first teamer only 2 years ago is expected to shine and play far better than what he did.
Lingard is past it in a Manchester United shirt. Again, he's still there. He appoints Raiola as his agent simply because if anybody appointing Mino Raiola as an agent means they are looking for a move, which is what he was doing. So they are playing him because he's there, not because he deserves to be on the pitch. Definitely, there are better people in the youth setup that should have been put on that pitch that day. I don't know why Oli is persisting with Lingard. He should have played one of the youngsters.
I guess that's the reason why a lot of the youngsters, like the ones who left, Chong and
they were wise.
Alone, but there's another.
Very wise.
I mean, they can see what Lingard is putting on the pitch, and these guys are sitting there thinking, look, we guys can be better than that. And still, Oli started Lingard or gave Lingard a chance in at least about 15 to 16 games last season before Bruno came in. And I mean, it's desperate times at United. It's frustrating for all us fans who've been fans for years and ages out, like yourself, like me, and also the younger fans who have come on to following United over the last 10 or 15 years. But what I would say is that now we are left with 10 days of the window to go.
Yes.
Let's hope we get some business done.
I seriously hope so.
Telles looks to be close, but then again, in the first week of August, Sancho deal was so close that you could literally touch it. I mean, the kind of phrase that was going around. So we just hope we get some business done. Shaw has come out and said that it'll lift the place if we get some players that we are targeting in. It helps build the squad. If a player is saying that, the manager is saying that to the board, I'm sure. I mean, I would expect our board to have some level of common sense, but they have proved proved otherwise on many occasions in the last 4 to 5 seasons. So 10 days to go. Let's hope we bring in some players. And I mean, I still believe. So if I was to ask you, what would be your score prediction against Brighton?
As much as I would hate to say it, a draw looks the most likely outcome. But if all our players turn up and actually play the way they're supposed to play, the way they played post-COVID, the few games that we played, I'm looking at a 2-0 win, yes. But if they play the way they played against Crystal Palace, we're going to drop points. That is for sure.
Right. No, I believe that knowing the players we have, at least the first 11 that we have, I believe they would know the responsibility they have wearing that United shirt. Fine, you're allowed a few off games. I mean, Liverpool got thrashed at Watford. Who expected that to happen last season? So you're allowed one of those games when you would slip up here and there. But they don't have that chance now because slipping up on
Watford.
Saturday means a nightmare coming towards everybody. That they know
Yeah.
what backlash it would be. But I trust them that they would turn up, and I believe they would win about 3-1 or a 3-0 on a Saturday, which is very much required. And I think these players will deliver on Saturday.
Remember that Watford game, Liverpool didn't have an off day or a bad day. They underestimated Ismail Assar.
Right.
Again, arrogance in defense. He ran all around that defense that day. He was just superb that day. They didn't have an off day. Okay, Ismail Assar had a superb game that day. Okay, but there can be no off days in the Premier League.
Right.
You have to win everything. Look at Liverpool's win percentage. Okay, maybe they won off game, but then of course, luckily for them, Manchester City were bad last season.
Yes.
But when it was down to the previous season, when they lost the league by 1 point, both Manchester City and Liverpool were winning everything. It just came down to the 1-2 games where they dropped a point here or lost. Both teams didn't lose many games.
Yeah, it came down to that one, goal line clearance by a Manchester City player.
Yes,
and
exactly.
And probably who was it? Harry Maguire, who scored for Leicester against Liverpool that season. So,
Harry Maguire,
which led to a draw, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
So, but I mean, coming back to United and this season, let's hope we turn up on Saturday. Let's hope we put in a good performance and win the game, which is very much needed to lift just lift the mood of all the fans around the world. And let's hope our board gets his act together and we get a couple of signings in the next 10 days, so we are good to go with a lot more positivity to look forward to in the remainder part of the season. Again, like always, thanks Ashley. It was great having you.
Thanks very much.
We shall again be talking Brighton probably sometimes midweek for the Carabao Cup as well.
Yes, we meet them again.
Yes, we meet them again midweek. And anyway, thanks a lot. And to all the fans out there, do like and subscribe our channel. And we will be back with more content sometimes middle of next week before the Carabao Cup. And all the best. Let's hope we turn up on Saturday and win. Thanks, Ashley. And we'll catch up with everyone soon.
Thanks, Mojo. All the best for Saturday's game. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
Yep. Okay, bye.